Shanti. This is the Sakar Murli of 10 of April 2023. Essence. Sweet children, in order to become elevated, constantly continue to follow Srimad. Even Lakshmi and Narayan became elevated by following Srimad. Question: why have people created the memorial of the Gomukh brackets mouth of a cow on the path of devotion? Answer: because at the confluence age, the father places the urn of knowledge on the mothers. The nectar of knowledge emerges from your mouths, and everyone becomes pure through this. Therefore, the memorial of the Gomukh has been created on the path of devotion. You mothers are the sacred cows who fulfill everyone's desires, and this is why that memorial has been created. Song: show the path to us blind ones, dear God. Om Shanti. You children heard the song. Children on the path of devotion, call out to the Father. We have become without sight and wisdom, so show us the path. They remember their Father and call out, O Prabhuji. He is called the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. All human souls remember the Father. We are very unhappy in this impure world. We have been stumbling around from door to door. Wherever we go, we don't know the occupation of those we go to. People go to a Shiv temple, but they don't know who Shiv is. Wherever people go, they bow their heads there. They don't know who he is or when he came. Even when they go to a Lakshmi and Narayan temple, they don't know when they came or how they claimed their kingdom. They don't know anything at all. When you go to the Dilwala temple, Adidev is sitting there, but no one knows who he was. People go to Jagadamba, but they don't know whence he came or what she did. They simply go and bow down to her. They pray, give me a child, give me this, give me that. They don't know anything at all. They go to that Gomukh. They make so much effort to go down and up these steps. They don't know anything about what it is that is there. They have made a stone mouth of a cow and say that the Ganges emerges from the mouth of the cow. Nectar cannot emerge from the mouth of an animal. People go on pilgrimages, but they don't know anyone's occupation or when they came or what they did when they came. Why do they worship them? Because of having no intellect, brackets wisdom, they call out, O Prabhu, O Baba, because he is the father of everyone. Human beings are said to have three fathers. One is Shiv, the father of souls. The second is Prajapita Brahma, the creator of the human world, which is the human genealogical tree. The third are their physical fathers. Devotees remember the one God. Come and show the path to us blind ones, so that we know that for all time, this iron age is the land of sorrow. The golden age is the land of happiness, and the place from where we souls come when we come here to play our parts is called the land of peace. Here, each soul receives a harmonium brackets instrument of a body. These physical organs through which he acts. Souls are imperishable and these bodies are perishable. A soul is a child of the paralogic Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. A body is a child of a physical father. The Father of all souls is just the one, and you receive the inheritance by remembering him. You cannot receive the unlimited inheritance of peace and happiness from any human being. No matter who it is, Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar are still called deities. The Supreme Soul is Shiv. It is said, salutations to the Supreme Soul Shiva. It would not be said, salutations to the Supreme Soul Brahma. So no one knows the occupations of those to whom these temples have been built. The highest on high is the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul Shiv. And then the creation Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar is created. Shiv, the incorporeal one, is different from Shankar, the subtle deity. God is one. Explain this riddle very well. First of all, know the Father who is the creator of heaven. People continue to stumble around on the path of devotion. Lakshmi and Narayan are the masters of heaven. There is constant happiness there. Here, all are unhappy. This world is impure. In the golden age, Bharat was the pure household ashram. The king, queen and subjects were all pure. It is only the one Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, who purifies the impure Radhe and Krishna. Who purifies the impure. Radhe and Krishna are the prince and princesses of the golden age, and they become Lakshmi and Narayan after their marriage. Heaven is called Shivalaya. The Father is now purifying everyone through you mothers of Bharat, on whom the urn of nectar is placed. There was the pure kingdom in Bharat, and there are now impure kingdoms. From a pure household ashram, it has become an impure household, and the Father has now come to make it pure. The Father speaks to souls, I, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, have come. Souls remained separated from the Supreme Soul for a long time. You have been separated for a long time. You have now become completely diseased, poverty-stricken, worth a shell. If you now want to become the same as I am, then make effort. You mothers of Bharat are incarnations of Shakti. You consider Shiv Baba to be your father. By having yoga with him, you receive power through which you conquer the 5 vices and become conquerors of Maya and thereby conquerors of the world. This is a game of victory and defeat. By understanding world history and geography, you can become rulers of the globe. The Father gives you the inheritance of purity, peace and happiness for heaven. This is Raj Yoga. Hatha yogis cannot teach you Raj Yoga. You children are now receiving Srimad through which you are becoming elevated. You children of Ravan have become corrupt. Bharat has been following the dictates of Ravan and has become unhappy and poverty-stricken. Jagadamba was the one who fulfilled everyone's desires. She too was a mother. Jagadamba made Bharat into heaven by following Srimad, and this is why she is praised so much. You cannot become the masters of the pure world without adopting purity. The path of devotion continues for half a cycle. The Father now says, if you want to become a master of the pure world once again, come and understand. You are now receiving Srimad, and so you have to follow it. Mine is one Shiv Baba and none other. You people take 84 births. You are Shaktis. By having yoga with Shiv Baba, you receive power. Otherwise, you could never become the masters of heaven. You receive the inheritance for 21 births at the confluence age from the Paralokic Father, and you therefore have to make effort. You also have to benefit your children. You will then become the masters of heaven. This is the school of Raj Yoga. God speaks, children, I teach you Raj Yoga, through which you will become the kings of kings, the masters of heaven. Simply remember the Father, and your final thoughts will lead you to your destination. The Father will send you to the land of happiness. The Father says, I alone come and take everyone back to the land of peace and the land of happiness. This devotion, etc., does not exist in the golden and silver ages. There is limitless happiness there for 21 births. The Father now says, conquer this Ravan. To get married for wives is to ruin yourself completely. The Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, has issued an ordinance. Become pure and you will become the masters of the world. If you want to go from this land of sorrow to the land of peace and happiness, then understand these matters. You know that only the Father, no human being can be called God. That is wrong. God is only one. You children now know the biographies of the Supreme Soul, Shiv, Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar, and Lakshmi and Narayan. You can become as elevated as Lakshmi and Narayan by following Srimad. You definitely do have to become pure. If you continue to remember the one Father by following the Srimad of the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, and become pure, you will receive your fortune of the kingdom for 21 births. These are such easy matters. By understanding them, you can be liberated from the stumbling, weeping, and wailing of the path of devotion for 21 births. You have to explain how the golden age is established and how this cycle then turns. Understand the history and geography of the whole world. Only human beings would understand this. You have to follow the Srimad of the One Father. Only the One Father has mercy for everyone. He is the ocean of knowledge and the ocean of happiness. He gives you mothers the urn of knowledge through which you can purify everyone. However, the water of the Ganges cannot purify anyone. You mothers are the sacred cows who receive the urn of knowledge. Here, this is a study. You have to study here and become deities. There are the Brahmin deity, warrior, merchant, and Sudra clans. The cycle of 84 births continues to turn in this way. By knowing this cycle, you can become the kings and queens who rule the globe. Acha, to the beloved, long lost, and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from Bab, Dada, and sweetest Jagdamba. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children says Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence for Dharana. Number 1. Follow Srimad and serve Bharat to make it into heaven with the power of purity. Tell everyone the ordinance of the one Father. Become pure and you will become the masters of the pure world. Second, give everyone the introduction of the three fathers and show them the way to go from the land of sorrow to the land of peace and the land of happiness. Free everyone from wandering around. Blessing, may you become a number 1 victorious soul and fly in the flying stage by being a highest being who follows the highest codes of conduct. The sign of someone being number 1 is that he wins over every situation. He is not defeated by any situation but is always victorious. If whilst moving along you are defeated, the reason for that is some fluctuation in your following the codes of conduct. However, this confluence age is the age to become the beings who follow the highest codes of conduct. Not men or women, but the highest beings. Constantly maintain this awareness and you will continue to fly in the flying stage and not come down. Those who are in the flying stage overcome all problems in a second. Slogan: when you stay in the elevated company of the one Father, no other company can influence you. Om Shanti. Invaluable versions of Mateswari. Title is Main Points of the New Knowledge Received from the Bestower of Knowledge. Number 1. What are the main points of knowledge that we human souls have to keep in our intellects and to which we have to pay a lot of attention? First of all, we have to have the firm faith in who is it who is teaching us. Second, all of us are human souls and the Supreme Soul is our Father. We souls, we children, are separate from the Supreme Soul, the Father. Number 3, God is not infinite. God is not omnipresent. We have to keep this knowledge in our intellects, and this is why our knowledge is different from others. Although worldly people think that they have God's knowledge, when you ask them what knowledge it is that they have, they would say that God is omnipresent. God says, you can only receive my knowledge from me. Just as you receive knowledge to become a barrister from a barrister and knowledge to become a doctor from a doctor, there are many barristers there, and if you cannot study with one, you can study with another. If one doctor cannot teach you, another doctor will. However, only the one God, no human being, whether he is a saint or a great soul, can teach this godly knowledge. So how could we believe that they have God's knowledge in them? Number 4, God does not come here in every age, but God only comes once in each cycle at the confluence age. that is, at the confluence of the end of the Iron Age and the beginning of the Golden Age. He comes and destroys irreligiousness and establishes the one original eternal religion of truth. How can people say that God comes in every age? They even say that the God of the Gita is Sri Krishna and that he came in the Copper Age. All of these things have to be proved. The God of the Gita is not Sri Krishna. It is Shiva, the Supreme Soul. And he does not come in the Copper Age. He comes at the Confluence Age. Number 5. It is said there is extreme darkness without a guru. Which guru is that? How is the human world tree inverted, and how are we to conquer our 5 vices? Number 6. We are those same Pandav warriors who had God personally with them, and so that their side had victory. Number 7. God himself is the almighty authority, and those who take the full company of the Supreme Soul receive both the crowns of light and might from God. To keep all of these things in your intellect is said to have knowledge. Second is, what is the basis of becoming fortunate and unfortunate? What is the basis of the two words, being unfortunate and fortunate? We know that it is God who gives us the fortune of happiness, and that it is human beings themselves who make themselves unfortunate. When all human beings are completely happy, it is said that they have good fortune, and when people call themselves unhappy, they consider themselves to be unfortunate. We cannot say that we receive fortune or misfortune from God. No, it is foolishness to think in that way. God gives us the fortune of happiness. But to create your fortune or to spoil your fortune is based on your karma. All of this depends on the sanskars of human beings. As you develop the sanskars of sin and charity, so your fortune is created. But because of not knowing this secret, people blame God for everything. People have invented so many different ways of Maya to keep themselves happy, and then some consider themselves to be happy with that same Maya. And others renounce that same Maya. Then because of renouncing that Maya, they consider themselves to be happy. They are trying so many different ways to remain happy. But even after they have invented so many different ways, the result goes towards sorrow. When there is extreme sorrow in the world, God comes at that time in an incognito form and establishes a divine world. God gives all human souls the fortune of happiness with the power of yoga. अच्छा, ओम शांति।